Hey y'all, it's Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Oh, look out, we smoking.
Oh, we're talking about guns and training and holsters and ammo and sights and scopes and pretty much anything else because you know what? This is Gun Talk. Hey, glad you could be with us. I'm Tom Gresham. If you'd like to be a part of the madness here, give me a call, 866-TALK-GUN, or Tom Talk Gun will work as well, of course. And we're always looking for your range reports. If you've got a gun you've been shooting or somebody you took out to the range and introduced them to shooting, we'd love to hear those stories. If you got an old gun that you got from your daddy, your granddaddy, maybe your grandmother, who knows? Share that as well. I get this note. Said about a month ago, Tom talked about a Ruger 9mm handgun that he said was one of the best ones he shot. I would appreciate it if you could tell me which one you were talking about. Thanks, Billy. Hey, Billy, I think what you were talking about is I was kind of talking about underappreciated guns. And I was talking about the Ruger SR series, SR9, SR40. I think they don't get as much credit as they deserve. They're really well made. I like the feel of them. They're trim, they're slim, double stack guns. Weirdly enough, as I'm sitting here at Gun Sight right now in Arizona, the plant that makes the Ruger handguns is in Prescott, about 30 minutes south of me right here. So, but yeah, the Ruger SR series. And also, I will tell you, the Ruger, you were just talking about the Ruger line. The Ruger American pistol is really something special. It's got some kind of delayed roller block cam thingy in it, but anyway, it helps reduce recoil. It's pretty cool. So you might just check those out. Speaking of people who make cool guns and upset the apple cart in terms of people going, well, that's different, and kind of resetting expectations in the gun world. My next guest is exactly that. Marty Daniel joins me right now from Daniel Defense. Hey, Marty, how are you?
Hey, Tom. Good. I'm doing well. How you doing?
I am good. Daniel Defense, I guess what we ought to do is start off with a little bit about the company. How long you guys been around? How'd you get started?
We started the company in 2001, just selling a few small accessories, and sold our first gun in 2009. The story of the origin of the company really kind of started as a hobby. I was actually complaining with a buddy about my golf game because it was so horrible. And he suggested that I quit golf and take up shooting with him. And I did that, and I haven't played a game of golf since. It was those early days on the range. That was back in the late 90s. And we were shooting, and I fell in love with the AR. I had a couple of early Colts, and I wanted a flat top upper that had a big pin front hole in it. And this was not rocket science, just make the hole a little bigger. And that was
right.
That was the first product I introduced. I wanted four for my four upper receivers, and I couldn't find anybody that made any, so I talked a guy into making 100 for me, and that was the least he could make because he had to do setups, which I clearly understand today. So I bought 100 to get the four that I wanted. And,
now you got 96 of these things, right?
Then I had 96. I set up a website. Me and my buddy actually helped me do that. We set up a website and sold the other 96. Took me about 2 years to sell those. but it was that was our start. We sold. That was in 2001. We sold the first parts.
Well, now let me ask you a question. AR-15s are almost a commodity. They're, it's like everybody looks at them and says, well, they're all the same. And yet at the same time, your ARs, your platforms, Daniel Defense, are always the ones that people talk about, well, if I could ever have one of those, that's what I'd like. Or those are really the best ones out there. How do you make an AR-15 better than what everybody else is making? Well,
you hit the nail on the head for the reason. You may not even know it, but in your question, you said you think they're all, most people think they're all the same. And actually, they are all the same, and they have been all the same. And when we came on the scene, my motto, my goal, as I started building components and then building guns, was I always thought, when I was a consumer just buying guns for my hobby, that if I could figure out who made the best gun, then that's what I wanted to buy. And so we just set out on this course to make the very best gun. Well, everybody basically made the same gun. They were all guns built by one set of a whole bunch of different subcontractors built to a certain specification. And we would go to one of those. When we first started, we were buying from a lot of those guys, good people, and we'd say, "Hey, we want to build this part, but we want it a little bit better right here, and we want it a little bit better right here." And they would say, "Sure, no problem." And then 6 months later, they'd say, "Man, this is just too much trouble to build everything to this specification, and yours is a little bit tougher to build, and it's just not working out." So we'd go buy another machine and figure out how to make that part. And then we just continued to improve and improve and improve. And so you're exactly right. Now, there's a couple of other, I'm sure there's some other companies who've tried to do the same thing, but we have just excelled in that market and kind of, really dominate that very, very high-end quality product at a price that's a good value.
When you describe what your rifles do that's different, is it accuracy? Is it reliability? What is it?
Yes, and dependability. Yeah, and longevity, right? Life. Our barrels, our guns last a really long time. Very accurate, very dependable. It's all of the above, and those are all the things we're pushing for all the time. And sometimes sometimes our engineers won't let something out the door till it's perfect, and it's like sooner or later, guys, we got to stick a fork in this,
Yeah, you got to get it out the door. You can't have a business if you don't put something out there for people to buy.
That's exactly right.
Now, where are you making these?
We're making everything right down here in Black Creek, Georgia, right outside of Savannah, and we were blessed to get moved into one building. We had grown really fast and needed a lot of room. We ended up in two buildings, 45 minutes apart. That was a real big problem. I never had anybody we needed. It seemed like no matter who you needed, they were always at the other building.
Right.
And so we got a new building built in 17. We got moved in 18, and we've really gotten settled in, and just things are going really, really good.
And now you completely lost your mind because you decided what the world really needs is another bolt-action rifle. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that I have customers all the time that say, "When are you going to build a bolt-action rifle?" So we're just doing what the customers ask us to do.
Okay, so first of all, we ought to tell people it's called the Delta 5. It's from Daniel Defense. It is a heck of a rifle. What's the premise behind it? What's it for?
Well, this what's what a bolt action's for? It's to shoot long distance, to shoot targets, to shoot to hunt, all of the things you can do with a bolt action rifle, and it's we specifically designed this rifle to be just as accurate as it can be, we've just discussed, to last as long as it can last, to be a very, very accurate and very dependable.
What calibers?
We're out in 308 right now. 6.5 is coming really soon. As soon as I can get these engineers to stick a fork in it, and we are, we're just coming out with a 7mm AUD 8 right after that, and
nice. Just
having a lot of good feedback now on the 308s that are out. I'd be interested if anybody's on the air listening that has taken one to the range yet. Not a lot of guns out, so I don't know how many who are listening have bought one yet. But really excited about getting some consumer feedback. We did we sent a bunch of them out to writers. We've gotten a lot of good writer feedback. As a matter of fact, the May article in Shooting Times, there's an article in there where Joel Hutchcraft says it's one of the most accurate rifles I've ever fired. So I'm pretty excited about seeing that article come out.
That is sweet, and it's got a really good trigger on. I got to shoot it at the the SHOT Show this year.
Yeah, it comes with a Timney trigger. It's the trigger system is the same as a Remington 700. So any trigger that will go in a Remington 700 will fall right into this gun. That's kind of one of the things we were shooting for, was to make this gun very versatile, so that people can, kind of like the AR is, people can swap things around and do what they want. We have a barrel that we took the the barrel system on an AR and put it into a bolt gun. So it's got a barrel. The barrel has a barrel extension on it and a barrel nut, so you can actually take it apart on your kitchen table and swap barrels, swap calibers, do those type of things.
Oh, that's pretty neat. So you could swap calibers on this bolt. Basically it's a switch barrel bolt action.
That's correct.
Man, that's great. What's suggested retail on this one?
$23.99 right now on the model we have out. So we're excited about that. Yeah.
And then you can buy other barrels so you can have different calibers on your one rifle.
That's correct.
I like it. Sounds good. And the information on it, you got it on your website. I know it's, for those who don't know, DanielDefense.com, and Daniel is DANIEL, DanielDefense.com.
That's correct.
Marty, I sure appreciate you spending some time with us. I tell you what, I'm going to get you back on here sometime. We're going to just talk about the gun business, the firearms industry, and where we're going. But, man, you have been a trendsetter for a while now, and this Delta 5, for people who haven't looked at it, they need to take a look. It is something special.
Tom, I appreciate it, buddy. Good talking to you.
Absolutely. You take care. All right. Marty Daniel from Daniel Defense. All right, we're open lines now. If you'd like to join us, a gun you want to talk about these court cases going forward. There's some pretty interesting ones. We win a few, lose a few, but right now we won several of them. Pretty interesting stuff. 866-TALK-GUN. And the other question I have for you is, what are you carrying and how, that is, where do you carry it? 866-TALK-GUN.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at TimneyTriggers.com.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
Hey, when do you want that burglar? When do you want to show up? When do you want to know there's a burglar out there? Do you want to wait till he's inside your house, or do you want to know about it when somebody's walking around the outside? Well, I don't know about you. I want to know before somebody gets in the house. Well, that's what the Blink camera system is all about. Ask John. His Blink camera alerted him to the burglars trying to break in, and he and his wife were actually, his family, they were at home when that was going on. Shannon had kind of a similar thing happen, but her camera caught a thief stealing packages. Both times, they used the Blink video clips they had to send them to the police, help them convict the crooks. Now, Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and they run on 2 lithium batteries that can last up to 2 years. And when you're away, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home and check in on kids and pets actually from anywhere, because you're using the smartphone app. So you just pull your phone out, and you can actually see live video from any number of cameras, whatever you have set up. It's pretty cool. No contracts, no subscriptions. It's really affordable, actually. In fact, you know what? Blink systems start at just $79.99. Thanks to Blink, home security just got easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/guntalk. That's blinkprotect.com/guntalk. Now, Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. All right, let's go to the phones. Tim's with us out of Carson City, Nevada. Hey, Tim, you made it on to Gun Talk. How you doing?
Yeah, hey, never better. Thank you. Thanks so much for being down on my favorite spot in the whole world, gun site.
Oh, yeah.
I envy you there. I haven't been back yet. Hey, I had a question on that magazine capacity issue in California. I don't tend to follow gun cases in that state too closely, but I heard one report where the origination of that case came from a woman who stopped an intruder using a firearm that had a mag capacity in excess of what was legal, and that was the genesis of that case. And I was wondering if that was accurate or not. I haven't seen it anywhere in the news as to how that case came about.
You know, I don't know, but in 1 hour and 20 minutes, we're going to have on the show here the lead attorney of that case talking about what happened with it and how it came about and where we go from here. So I can ask him at that point. It's an important case because it's the first time I know of where the court has said magazines are arms. So magazines cannot be banned any more than guns can be banned. Of course, that was the whole thing about the Heller decision, Supreme Court decision. Said you can't ban guns that are in common use. Just flat out, you can't ban guns that are in common use. Well, if you got, who knows, 500 million magazines out there, maybe more, you can't ban them. And this was not just a ban on the sale of them. This was a confiscation deal. If you had it, I mean, here's the deal. They got people out here coming to gun site. They were just telling me from California. They have to leave their standard capacity magazines here. They can't take them back. They're afraid to take their magazines back to California. Now, with this decision, that will go away. You got to know, though, that the state of California is going to appeal because this was kind of the pet project of Gavin Newsom, the new governor of California. So while this is really good news and it's a really strong opinion, I'm thinking it's going to get appealed, and then we'll see what happens with it. What's your take?
I think I'm optimistic that common sense will come to the forefront, because in addition you have the 3D printing issue too. I mean, the genie's out of the bottle, and like you said, you had so many magazines out there already, and gun control doesn't seem to work very well in Mexico, and I don't understand how the Californians can just toss their rights aside like that, and it's a sad case.
It is, and the thing that people need to know is this was not actually a law passed by the legislature. This was a measure that was voted on in a referendum, and the people of the state voted on it, and the judge came back and said, you know what? People cannot vote their rights away like this. That's just, no, not on this one. This is a basic right. This is an enumerated fundamental right, the Second Amendment, and you can't vote it away. Sorry. If you want to do that, basically, well, he didn't say it, but if you want to do that, you're going to have to go repeal the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Hey, I appreciate the call, Tim. Thank you, sir. Yeah, this case is going to be really interesting to watch. I put some links up about it on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, by the way, if you don't, by all means you should. I am at Gun Talk on Twitter. One of the articles I linked to was by Eugene Volokh from the Volokh Conspiracy, and it is really good. It explains the case in detail. Well, he's a law professor, but he's also a good Second Amendment supporter, and it really starts to make sense. And you look at it and you go, well, this is better than I think. It's actually a really strong opinion. And then we have this thing out of Illinois where the Illinois Circuit Judge ruled that the firearms owner's identification card is unconstitutional. I thought that was pretty interesting because you have to get this FOID card in Illinois before you can buy guns. And now this has been ruled unconstitutional. Yes, they're going to appeal that as well. They always do. Will they make it to the Supreme Court? Most cases don't. Be kind of nice if you could get one of these that breaks our way that gets turned down, but we'll see what happens there. Oh, that's right. I got this note. Let me find this thing because I want to get this thing up for you. Oh, yeah. A guy writes in and says, Tom, I was talking about buying, Tom was talking about buying cheap ammo. He said, I had an experience at Walmart in New York State listeners need to hear. Okay, this is good stuff, right? He says he was buying a box of 22 long rifle ammo. And as he's getting it out of the case, he said, he's thinking, well, why don't you get some 45 ammo for his carbine? So he said, I'll buy some 45 ammo. And the clerk says at Walmart, I will need to see your pistol permit or you can't buy it. He says, I thought, wow, I bought it here before. Why would I need a permit? So he said, not wanting to argue, I just left. He said, I knew this had happened to my wife before and would come to a lot of the other friends. You know, they're going to get turned away. So he called Walmart corporate, and they told him, no, there's no search policy. The clerk was mistaken. He said he called the local manager. She, too, said, no, you do not have to furnish a pistol permit to buy pistol caliber ammo. He says the register prompts them to ask if it is for a pistol, but they cannot deny you the sale, and you do not have to show a permit. So there you go. Walmart corporate got it fixed. Good on you. That is Truth Squad in action. It's saying, okay, I'm not going to take this at face value. I don't believe that you're supposed to do that. I don't believe you're required, and I don't believe you're able to do that. So I'm going to go over your head. Well done. Very well done. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. What have you been shooting? Shotgun, rifle, pistol. And do you think the 380 is enough for a carry gun? Do you think a 380 is enough for self-defense? Give me a holler at Tom Talk Gun.
A girl can't go wrong with something in basic black, like an AR-15.
Some things never go out of style, like Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
All righty, we are open lines for you right now. If you'd like to be a part of this, give me a holler. 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun is the easiest way for you to get in here. Looking for your range reports, of course, but also just kind of your thoughts of where we're going with gun ownership. Are you buying guns right now? I have never seen guns as cheap. We're looking on Gun Dealio. I saw Smith & Wesson M&P being sold for new for $249. That's the M&P Shield. Ammo is at stunningly cheap prices, $150 for 1,000 rounds of 9mm. It's unbelievable. If you're not buying, I think you're just not plugged in. You don't understand what's going on. It's pretty cool right now. All right, let's go to the phones. Dave is with us on line 5. He's out of Oakland Township, Michigan, with a range report. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Tom. Oh, just on a subject you just mentioned, I found that reloading equipment is even a little bit cheaper now too, and that doesn't always track ammo, but powders a little more available and a little bit cheaper. I think competition and supply and demand is driving that.
Excellent.
The main reason I called was a couple weeks ago you were talking about the lab radar crony, and you wondered if somebody had to call in, and I didn't hear anybody that weekend or the past weekend.
No one has called in. And let me explain to people what we're talking about. The lab radar, we're talking about chronographs, the devices which measure the velocity of your bullets. And actually, we were out at the range this morning, and the fellow I was with was having all sorts of trouble with his chronograph. It was not an Ailer. It was a brand I was not familiar with, but it's one of those you had to set up the screens downrange and run the wires back. And he's shooting, and he's getting erroneous readings and then no readings. And I said at the time, I said, man, you might want to look at that lab radar. But honestly, Dave, I don't have any experience with it. Do you have one?
Yes, I do. And the reason I got one, I reload, and I always crony the stuff that I reload because that's really a good feedback as to whether you're getting, reasonably accurate loading. So I was able to acquire something that I'd wanted for a long time, which was a Barrett 50 BMG semi-auto. And I was afraid, and I think for good reason, that I would blow apart any crony that you put out in front of it, you know.
Oh, even if you put the screens out there, that muzzle blast would be horrendous.
Yeah, I figured even if I had it aimed right, the muzzle blast would probably knock crony out. So, I bought one of these lab radars, and the thing about the lab radar is it's slightly behind the muzzle of the gun, so you're not putting it in harm's way for the most part.
Yeah, it actually is sitting on the bench while you're shooting, isn't it?
It is, and you put your muzzle about, I think it's between 6 inches and 18 inches to the side, and just slightly in front of it, so that the bullet is downrange of the crony. So then you have to worry about if there's going to be if you've got a high-powered rifle that has a blast deflector on it, which the 50 BMG did. So I had to build a little steel shield to put between it. I don't know if you got that photo that I sent you this morning, or about an hour and a half ago. Anyway, it shows that.
I did not. Yeah, we were prepping for the show, so I didn't check emails.
Yeah, right. I figured it's probably. But anyway, so the lab radar, you tell it one of 3 ranges of velocities to look for.
Okay.
You tell if it's a rifle, or if it's a handgun, or if it's a bow, I believe. So
it does archery as well. Yes.
Yeah. So it looks for ranges, and you aim the lab radar like you would aim a gun. It's got a little sight on the top of it, and you aim it for your target, and then the gun, fires the projectile beside it. But eventually, a little bit downrange, it intersects the range that the lab radar has.
And it's actually using radar, sending out signals to measure the velocity of the bullet.
It is. And it measures the velocity by default at 11 feet and 22 feet and 33 feet.
Oh.
Or maybe yards. Maybe it's yards. I think it's yards. But you can set those up to 5 distances. So it not only measures it, close to the muzzle, but you can see the velocity drop off as the bullet flies. I see.
That would be handy.
And I think the maximum it measures is something like 80 or 100 yards. So beyond that, it's not able to.
All right. So, Dave, give me the bottom line. What do you think of this thing? How's it working for you?
Well, I'll tell you what. I haven't destroyed it, and that was the main thing. That's the main thing I was worried about with that.
Right.
And it's got a nice app. They didn't have when I bought it, but it had Bluetooth built into it. So they came up with an app for the phone, and now I can look at the measurements that it takes right on a phone app and record them that way.
Okay.
So actually, I love it. I love it, and it verified that my 50 BMG reloads were working the way that they should, and so I give it a thumbs up.
How much did you have to pay for it?
I believe I got it when it was on a slight discount, and I think it was about between $400 and $500. So it's not cheap. But
no.
That's 3 or 4 cronies you could destroy, and I've already destroyed one, the normal type, the one with the wings.
Yeah, I mean, the honest truth is people are thinking, what are you talking about? If you've done a lot of chronographing, if you shot with sky screens and all, you have shot your sky screens and destroyed them at some point. I'm just thinking almost everybody has.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to hit the chronograph with a bullet, too, with those kinds.
Yeah,
especially
it is.
Because the tendency to pull down, usually puts the chronograph in harm's way.
Well, that is a great range report. I appreciate that because I've been looking at those lab radars, and a buddy of mine had one at the range. I'm thinking, that is cool, but I had never had a chance to use it. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, they're very cool. Glad to help.
You bet. That's very cool. All right, lab radar. Yeah, we're going to have to hunt those guys down and talk with them about that. Maybe we'll get somebody to come on here and explain how it all came about and how it works. That's pretty slick. If you have something you've taken to the range, it's pretty slick. It could be a mag loader. It could be a particular scope that you really like that you have added on. Doesn't really matter. Let's share. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
The new FN 509 midsize 9mm pistol is now part of FN's legendary concealed carry lineup, and it is a natural fit. With its smaller grip frame modeled after the battle-proven million rounds tested FN 509, the FN 509 midsize comes with two 15-round magazines and naturally improves concealability. Available at your local firearms dealer. FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Whether you carry it on your hip or in your hands, when it's from Springfield Armory, your gun is a part of the legendary line, the great 1911 pistols, the innovative XD, XDM, and XDS pistols for competition and defense, the new 911 carry pistol, guns you can count on. Shooters everywhere rave about the Saint pistols and rifles, and of course, the mighty M1A battle rifle. Check out the latest at springfield-armory.com.
Hey, welcome back. Tom Gresham here. The number is 866-TALK-GUN, or just Tom Talk Gun. A lot of ways you can get involved with what we do here. You can, of course, follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Gun Talk on Facebook. Look for Gun Talk Media. We have videos out everywhere on, let's see, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, of course. We put the first-person offender shows out there. And I was telling somebody, actually this morning, we were talking about Tiger McKee. We've done some videos with Tiger about his very cool book called The Book of Two Guns. And it is different. I'm telling you, it's different. And once you get it, you'll go, oh, yeah. It's basically about fighting with the 1911 and the AR-15. But the 1911, honestly, it's really about protecting yourself with a handgun. As I talk to you right now, I'm sitting in the middle of Gun Sight. It's one of the great firearms training, gunfighting training facilities in the country, if not in the world. It is a phenomenal place, not so much because of the physical layout, although that is impressive. You got more than 3,000 acres and 22 ranges, and they teach everybody from people who quite literally have never held a gun. They come in with a gun that they bought, it's still in the box, and then you might see an interesting group of people here who are all young and fit and don't talk to other people a lot because they belong to some special forces 3-letter group, you never know. And they're doing training here. I know you think, well, you know, I first thought, hey, the government's got training facilities. Why would they send people here? Well, because there are just things they can do here that are better than what they do other places. They're that good. And whatever your level is, whatever you come in with, they can take that and work with it. It's an amazing place. If you want to do long-range shooting, fine. If you want to do self-defense pistol, if you want to do close quarters, if you want to do knife training about self-defense with knives. Haven't taken that class, although I'm going to get probably maybe a little taste of it, because I'm here to take the close quarters pistol class. 5 days, very up close and personal, hands-on. The reality is that's where it all happens for the most part. It's not a case of somebody's 20 feet away and you're slapping leather with them. It's a case of somebody comes up and gets right up in your face, or maybe more than one. Or, you know what? You could be in the middle of a bunch of innocent people, and you got to work your way through to get to the bad guy. Those are some of the skills I hope to pick up here. We'll be talking a little bit about that in just a few minutes with the lead instructor of that class. But as I'm thinking about the mindset, and it really is that. It's the situational awareness, the mindset, the decision process that brings someone to decide, okay, I'm going to take care of myself. How do you get from I'm not doing that to, okay, I'm in? And for a lot of people listening to this, you've gone there. You crossed that line of, okay, I'm now going to get serious about this. I'm going to get my concealed carry permit. I'm going to either buy a gun that I'm going to carry, or I'm going to use one of the guns I carry. I'm going to get serious about safety, and we're going to have a plan for our family. What is it that moves you over that line? For some people, they say, well, it's just kind of a general awareness of things. I don't like the way things are the news. And I have to say, honestly, while that is true and motivating, sometimes that can be misleading. I think the nonstop coverage of crime news is sometimes gets us a little bit off what the reality is. I think sometimes we think there's crime everywhere when there's really not. It's an interesting idea, but just you say, there's crime everywhere. Well, not really. They just report it all the time. You're hearing it all the time. It feels like there's crime everywhere. Tell you what, let's talk with Jim on line 5 out of Kansas. Jim, welcome to Gun Talk. All right. Hey, Jim, you there?
Yes.
I guess he put his... Oh, there he is. Yes, sir. Welcome to Gun Talk. How can we help you?
Is this Don?
This is Tom. You are on the air.
Yeah. Okay. Tom, I'm sorry. Got a range report from my granddaughter, who is 11. Her and her folks, they have a date night. There's one boy and one girl. The girl's 11 and the boy is 7 or 8. And she wanted to have a date night with her dad, and which they do every couple months. And Dad asked her what she wanted to do, and she says, well, I want to go to the gun range and shoot Grandpa's .22. So the wife, my daughter, called and says, can we borrow your buckmark? And I says, well, to go to a gun range and let her shoot? I said, hell yes.
If an 11-year-old says, I want to have a date night with my dad, and what I want to do is go shooting, yes, we're going to make that happen, right?
10-4 on that one. But they come out every couple weekends or Saturday or Sunday. Got a range behind my house and everything, live out in the country, and they do a lot of target practicing, and they have a good time. Grandson, he's starting to... We've had him shooting off and on since he's about 5, and granddaughter likes it. That is perfect.
That's just perfect. Jim, I just got to thank you so much. I love hearing that. It makes me smile. I love the idea of an 11-year-old who they said, well, what do you want to do, when you go out and do your date night with your dad? What I want to do is go shooting. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm with you. We are going to make that happen. We're going to make sure we have the right gun. We're going to make sure we have all the ammo they want. Very cool stuff. If you have a range report similar to that, or any kind of range report for that matter, give me a holler, 866-TALK-GUN. Are you following the politics? How do you feel the state of gun ownership is in America today? All right, back with you. Tom Gresham, 866-TALK-GUN. Let's see. Line 5, Richard's joined us out of Houston, Texas. What in the world have you found here, Richard?
Oh, yes, sir. How are you today? I'm calling.
Great.
I just picked up an old H&R 10 gauge single shot. I purposefully went out of my way looking for one with the idea that I wanted to chop it down. So actually just chopped it down to 18 and a half inches just to have something that not a lot of people have. But now, and probably a lot of people don't want to shoot a 10 gauge either. So here I am with this 10 gauge, and I actually have my grandfather's old Mech 600 reloader with 10 gauge dies. So I have this reloader with the dies to load 10 gauge, and just kind of wondering how to get my feet wet in that. I started looking at it, and then I started to get a little over analytical. And I'm going, man, this is playing with explosives. And I know that you have a lot of experience in that. So just wanted to reach out and see if you had any good ideas on how I could get started on that.
I think probably your first move ought to be to contact Mech, the people who made the reloader. They have loading manuals and they have instruction manuals on how to reload. Now, question, have you ever done any reloading?
No, sir.
Okay, it's not difficult at all. As someone once said, if you can mix a drink and take your temperature at the same time, you can reload. And I think that's probably about right. It's not a big deal as long as you follow the rules and the procedures and you're careful with it. There's nothing dangerous about it. But to put together safe loads, you got to follow the recipes, the load data. I would say contact Mech. Look up Mech reloaders on the internet. Go to their website. They'll have information. If you don't have it, they will probably get you a manual for that reloader that you have, as well as kind of you could ask them, do you have loading data? They have videos on how to reload shotgun shells. And, boy, that's like the best thing ever because we used to have to learn it from books. And we're trying to figure out, well, what do they mean when they say rotate this thing this way, And now you just look at the video and go, oh, yeah, I got that. So between going to Mech and then going to YouTube and looking up how to reload shotgun shells on a Mech loader, you should be good. Now, you got to get components. You're going to have to get shells and, empty hulls. You may end up wanting to buy like a box of 10-gauge loaded ammo, and you shoot that, and now you'll have empty hulls that you can reload.
Yes, sir.
I don't expect you're going to be doing an awful lot of shooting, but it's kind of a fun project. I mean, an 18.5-inch barrel, single-shot 10-gauge is one of those that it's going to leave people scratching their heads and going, okay, why?
What do you do with that? Yeah, exactly. It's a watermelon thumper is what I'm thinking it's going to be.
Well, it's, you could, I guess it could be a home defense gun, but, honestly, it's a single shot. I wouldn't use it for that. It's one of those things, okay, you've done it, and there you are. But anyway, if you want to learn how to reload, check out the Mech website and check out YouTube. That'll get you going. I appreciate it. Good luck with it. It's an interesting combination. It really is. Reloading shot shells is pretty easy. It really is, and I'm looking at, you can get a Mech 600 Junior reloader for $200, something like that. It's and you can, as you go up in speed, as they reload more and faster, the prices go up, but it's pretty simple. And if you do much shotgun shooting at all, it's probably not a bad idea. You can really save some serious money that way. Now, that's assuming you're comparing the price to good target loads. Some of the discount field loads that are out there, and they're selling them cheap, I'm not sure you can beat that price reloading. Honestly, ammo is just so darn cheap these days. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking about, self-defense with your hands, with knives, with guns, and everything else. We're at Gunsight. If you'd like to be a part of it, call me 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.